to my channel. Welcome to another monthly reset video. I'm so excited for this one. September is one of my favorite months of the year. Feels like the Friday of the year. I feel like October is the Saturday, August is definitely a Thursday, and then like November and December both feel like Sundays to me. And so that leaves September as Friday, and I just feel like it's the best month because you just have all this anticipation for fall and just like the end of the year. I just feel like it's the best month ever. And also my husband's birthday is in September and I love celebrating him, so all around it's just a great month. Sorry I didn't do a reset video in August. I actually did film it, and then it was like on a Sunday that I filmed it, and I remember just feeling so overwhelmed that day. I had so much to do and I felt like I had literally no time. And when I was watching the footage back and editing it, you could totally tell that I was forcing it. And I even felt like my goals that I was setting for August were just kind of like, I don't know, like arbitrarily selected just to have something to talk about in the video. I didn't feel like there was actually much intention behind it, so I decided to just scrap it because it just like wasn't. And I usually don't like force myself to film if I'm not in the mood to film. I'm very good about like drawing a boundary there, but sometimes if I can just get myself into the filming like position and like set everything up, sometimes I'll like feel the creativity kind of start to flow on its own if I just try to like put myself in the position. But it just didn't work that day, and I was just clearly overwhelmed and like frustrated. So I mean, like, I don't know if anyone else could have been able to tell, but I could tell, and that's enough for me. So anyways, I'm super excited then for the September one because I feel like I just am ready to set some goals. I'm ready to just talk about the month and just really like dive into September. So let's dive into it. I have my coffee here. I was gonna do a hot coffee because I want to get into the fall vibes, but it's 98 degrees outside and I'm boiling alive. This denim jacket is like the best I can do for like a fall. I wanted to wear sweaters so bad, but it's just not in the cards for us in Houston right now. It's gonna probably be in like the 90s until well into October, I would say. So September for us is very much still summer, but I try to just still embrace fall energy vibe. So starting with August goals, I have my laptop here because I put everything in my Notion to track all my goals and stuff, and Notion is the best, by the way. I love it so much. You should definitely use it. One thing I did in August that I really liked that I'm doing again for September is for August I created a Pinterest board of just like the vibes I wanted to have in August, or just a way for me to like romanticize August. I also made an August playlist. I'll link both of those down below. I know August is over, but in case you just want to see like what I did and I don't know, just use it for next August maybe, or some of it probably can carry into September. I'll link those down below. I'll also link my September Pinterest board that I'm gonna make, and then I'll make a September playlist too. And it's just a way for me to like feel more intentional and present in the current month and like in the current season. I feel like a lot of times I just blink and fall is over, or I blink and the month is over, whatever month it is. And I feel like I just don't do a good job of just like being present. I get so focused on like making it through each day, and I feel like I'm rushing through things all the time. And so this is a way for me to just really soak it up and be present. So my August goals, that was like a big one for me, was just romanticizing the month. I didn't like write that down. It was something that I just wanted to have going into the month, and I really nailed that and loved it. I'm definitely doing it again this month. So my number one August goal was to get a promotion at work. And this was actually one of my 2024 goals. I kind of put it on there like knowing that maybe we could like readjust. And I actually ended up getting promoted, and I'm so excited about it. I still have to like, it has to be completely solidified and everything, but I did get confirmed 2 weeks ago that I got the job and that they want to move forward with promoting me. There's a lot of like weird details because it's like our company is merging, so this job is technically at the other company, but I don't know, it's all the logistics still need to be sorted out. But I got promoted and I'm so excited. I vocalized it at the beginning of this year, which was really hard for me. I'm very not great at sticking up for myself. So I don't know, it was something that I put myself out there and I got rewarded for it, and that's really cool. 10K steps a day. I actually did pretty good on this. I'm not gonna check it off because I feel like there were definitely days I did not do this and didn't even like bother to pay attention to it. But I think when I was paying attention, I got 10K steps, and I did a way better job of just walking more throughout the day, and I really like that, and it made me feel a lot better, especially walking in the evening. I feel like I sleep better when I do that, and it just gives me the opportunity to like clear my head. It's a very low impact workout. It doesn't require much energy on my part. The only thing it requires me to do is go outside, and it's freaking hot, you guys. It was just so miserable this month, so hot. So, but I kind of did that. I don't know. I'll give myself a half on that one. My other goal was to give blood. I randomly, at the beginning of August, when I was like thinking about what I wanted to do that month, I randomly got this urge to give blood, and I've never given blood before. Not for any particular reason, it never like occurred to me, and I just randomly out of nowhere was like, I need to give blood this month. No idea why. I don't know if that is like the universe telling me that someone out there really needed my blood, but I decided, okay, I'm gonna follow this little thread and just like see what happens. So come to find out, like a week and a half later after I had that thought, my company sent out an email and said they were having a blood drive this month. And I was like, oh my God, like, what are the odds? So I signed up. I went in. I'd never given blood before. I am not weird about blood, needles, and all that. I have never had an issue with it. And it was at like 9:30 in the morning, and I went in and I had not eaten that. Well, I had eaten. I did have a breakfast, and I ate a big meal the night before. I took an iron supplement. I was like ready to go. I go in there. They get me all set up. I'm laying there. I'm giving the blood. I'm like maybe 3 or 4 minutes in, and I started to just feel really weird, like super like, I don't know, just tired, like that feeling when you're like laying in bed at night and you just are like fighting to stay awake. That's how I felt. And then my eyes, like my vision just started to go like, not black, but like blue. It's really weird. Like I just got these big, huge blue, I don't know, just clouds in my vision. And so I waved the nurse over, she came over, and pretty much right as she came over, I just like went completely, like I completely passed out, like fainted. I woke up, I had like ice packs all over me, my legs were elevated. They were kind of like talking to me, asking me if I was okay. They were like, are you nauseous? I said no, because at the time I wasn't, but they brought me a bag just in case, because they were like, you're probably gonna get nauseous. Just like 30 seconds later, I got really nauseous and I threw up in the bag. And just keep in mind, there were like 25 people in this room and everyone saw me doing this. Like there were no privacy screens or anything. Like I was just out in the open, like vomiting and fainting in front of a bunch of people, potentially people I work with. So that was fun. I ended up giving the full pint, and I got a voucher for a free pint of Bluebell ice cream because I donated blood, and I felt good about it. It was like a good thing to do. I've known people in my life whose lives have been saved by blood transfusions, so it was a really cool thing to do, and I'm glad I did it. I don't know that I'll be doing it again, just because I actually, for the rest of the day, even once I left, I felt good when I left, and then throughout the day, like I felt absolutely horrible. It felt like my body was operating on like 5% battery. I ended up having to leave work, go home, and I was like in bed the rest of the day. I was completely like just useless the rest of the day. It was horrible. But anyways, I did give blood, so we're gonna check that off the list. Another one I had was to subscribe to The New Yorker. Oh gosh, what's her name? There's this creator I follow who has a newsletter, and I recently subscribed to her newsletter, and she quotes The New Yorker a lot and talks about different like fiction pieces and poems in The New Yorker. And I was like, I want a dose of like fiction every week, like a little short story. I would absolutely love that. So I signed up for The New Yorker. The fiction is so good. It's just, I love it. It's the best. So I did that. Journaling with an exclamation point. I really want to get into journaling. I just struggle with journaling so much because I think I process thoughts better when I'm speaking out loud than writing. Like, that's not true. I do love to write. Writing has been my coping mechanism since I was literally old enough to write and understand words. But when I sit there and journal with like a pen and paper, I feel like my hand can't go faster than my thoughts are coming out. And I also, for whatever reason, feel like I have to explain the backstory and the context. I don't know if it's because I think someone's gonna read this someday, or like, I don't know. I just have never really loved journaling. I love to write, like I love to write fiction. Anyways, all this to say, in August, I did journal a little bit. Not very much, but I did journal at least once. I don't know. Did I meet that goal? I have no idea. I only journaled basically once, so I don't know if I can cross that off, but I didn't specify how many times I had to journal. It just said to journal. I'm gonna cross it off. New shit I've been putting off. There's so much stuff I've been putting off. Gatsby's vet appointment, I had totally been putting it off. He technically was due in July for his like annual appointment, or his biannual appointment. He had just gone to the vet in like February, so I didn't feel super like urgent about it, but I was like, okay, August needs to be the month that I schedule his appointment. And I also just get anxiety about scheduling his appointments, which is totally unfair to him. I should not delay his health care because I'm nervous about any potential diagnosis. That is completely selfish. So I'm trying to like work through that. Also hates the vet. It gives him so much, he's so terrified of it. He pees on himself, like he gets so scared. And we love our vet, but it's just like so stressful and traumatic for him every time we bring him. So I do kind of dread taking him. but like I said, it was something I've been putting off, so I scheduled it. It's actually this week. I scheduled it last week, so I did schedule it in August, but I scheduled it for September. The other thing I was putting off was my annual physical. I wasn't really putting that off. I actually am technically not due for that until this month, I think, but I went ahead and scheduled it and I got it done in August, so check that off the list. So that was it for August. Super, like, I didn't even really have a financial goal on here. I literally just wanted to, like, enjoy August. That was my overarching goal for August. I just wanted to enjoy it. I wanted to have a good time. I wanted to feel present in it, and that's what I did. So I was kind of light on the goals this month. Moving on to August reads. I actually did not read that much this month. Let's see. I did read The Only One Left by Riley Sager. I had been so looking forward to this book, and it was so good. It was like the perfect August read because it's very spooky. It kind of has a little bit of a paranormal aspect to it, I guess, like a little sprinkle of paranormal. It's a thriller. It takes place on like a cliffside, like looking over the ocean. So it kind of is like beachy vibes, but still very ominous, and just perfect for August. Perfect for just like gearing up for spooky season, but still kind of those beachy vibes, and I really liked it. I gave it a 4 stars. By the way, I did start a Goodreads. Well, I picked back up Goodreads. I created one in 2017, which I think was actually required for one of my college courses because I majored in creative writing. And so, but I hadn't put anything on there. The only thing that was on there was like required reading, but none of the books I had read like leisurely. So I went in there and added all the books I have read that I can remember from like Kindle and stuff. And especially like I added my books from the last like year or two. So I'm trying to keep up with it. So feel free to go add me. I'll put my link to my Goodreads profile down below. If you want to follow me, feel free to do that. So I read that one and I really, really liked it. The ending was crazy. The twist was wild. It was so good. The only reason I gave it a 4 instead of 5, because I really did enjoy it. The vibes were so good. The descriptions of the scenery was really good. I personally am a big character person. I love a character-driven book. I think character development is one of my biggest, I don't know, focuses when I read. And this main character, the narrator, I just felt like, she just felt a little flat to me, honestly. Like, she just felt, I did not feel connected to her. I felt like she was just literally a, like, vessel for telling the story as opposed to, like, an active participant. Like, she did have some qualities. She definitely was harboring like grief and guilt from her past. She was kind of distrusting, like kind of cynical. She did have those qualities. I don't know, just like couldn't really pinpoint her other than that. I don't know, I just didn't feel like she had a whole lot to offer on the page. So that's the only reason I put it down to 4 stars. But other than that, it was a really good read if you are looking for a thriller. Really good, highly recommend. The one I read was for book club. It's called The God of the Woods by Liz Moore. This was a raving 5 stars. If I could give it 50 stars, I would. It was incredible, incredible writing. I haven't read a book like that in a long time. It's a, I wouldn't even say thriller, it's more of a mystery. It takes place at like a summer camp in the mountains, in the Adirondack Mountains in New York. It's one of those books where you read it and you close it and you just keep thinking about it for days. I finished it, what, 2 weeks ago, and I'm still actively thinking about it. I still have dreams about it. A lot of contrast between good and evil, rich and poor, women and men, different versus quote unquote normal, with like higher intellectual ability versus lower intellectual ability, and like the power struggles between all these groups was so good. The ending was one of the most satisfying, beautiful, poetic endings of a book that I've ever read. It just really like, let me read you this one excerpt. I highlighted so much in this book because it was just truly so good. She saw everything. She sat on the edge of the stage that overlooked the community room, watching the campers in all of their triumphs and failures, the ones having genuine fun, the ones pretending to have it. If she believed in a god, it was in one who functioned something like Louise in this moment, rooting for her charges from afar, mourning alongside them when they were rejected, celebrating every small victory that came their way. She noticed the lonely ones, the ones at the edge of the crowd. She felt in her heart a sort of wild affection for them, wanted to go to them, to stand next to them and pull them tightly to her side. And yet she also knew that to intervene in this way would disrupt something sacred, that at 12 and 13 and 14 years old, they were learning about themselves and the world. And this too was how she thought of God. I'm sorry, but this is such good writing. Like, come on. Thought-provoking and kind of intense at times. It's a little bit confusing at first. There are multiple points of view and there are multiple timelines. and it's a murder mystery, so you're kind of like trying to figure out, it's just a lot to figure out. But it will challenge you, and I think that is what some books are meant to do, you know? I think this book is meant to challenge you a little bit and meant to kind of challenge how you view things, and it just like truly stuck with me. I'm also currently reading Heartless Hunter by Kristen Ciccarelli, I think is how you say it. I'm probably butchering that. It's the Crimson Moth series, book 1. I'm really liking it so far. It's really good. It's a fantasy book. I've seen it recommended everywhere. A bunch of people have been reading it, and I really like it so far. It's very, there's like witches, blood magic, enemies to lovers, big time, hunter and hunted. It's just really good. The main character is just very fierce and fiery, which I love. So I'm loving that. But yeah, I only read basically 2.5 books in August. August was a really busy month. I just didn't have a lot of time to read. And God of the Woods took a minute to kind of get through, because it's not something you can just do a quick read of. Like, you have to really sit and process and like work to understand. Like, it's not something you can really just like skim and blow through. So I really sat and like savored that, and I'm glad I did, because it was really good. Like, seriously, probably one of my top 5 books of my entire life, honestly. Okay, so that's all for what I read. And then what I've watched, I actually recently finished season 1 of Dark Winds on Netflix. It was produced by George R.R. Martin and Robert Redford. I saw that and I was like, all I needed to know. It's basically a like crime murder mystery that takes place on a Native American reservation in, I think, New Mexico. It takes place in the, I want to say the 70s. The main detective is so cool. He's just like that kind of grumpy, like no BS detective that everybody just loves to watch. Season 1 was really, really good. So I watched that, really good, highly recommend. I started watching A Discovery of Witches, and I was really into it at first, and then I was like, this is kind of bad acting. Like, I don't know, I feel like the acting's not that good. And I can't get like the chemistry between the two, like the love interests. I'm like, there's no, I feel like they don't have actual chemistry, unless maybe I'm just missing something, but they just don't feel, I don't know, I just didn't really, I don't really like it that much. I really liked the first season. I think I'm in season 2 now, and I'm very bored and kind of confused. So I watched that, and then I'm still watching that. I also watched the Lacey Peterson documentary, which I just, mind-blowing, truly. I feel like Scott totally did it. He either killed her or he hired someone to kill her and he disposed of the body. That's what happened. I watched this movie called Find Me Falling. It has Harry Connick Jr. in it, and I think he's so precious. So I watched it, and it was okay. Rom-coms just aren't usually my thing, but this one with Harry Connick Jr., like, come on. Like, of course I'm gonna watch it. Okay, September goals. My first financial goal is to pay off my personal credit card. I don't have a lot of money on this. It's literally like, I think it's like $2,500 or something. But it's just been sitting there for so long, and I kind of ignore it just because it's not that big of an amount. But it's gotta just, we gotta just like attack that this month. I just want it to be gone. I just want to like not even think about it anymore. So we're just gonna pay that off this month. 1 workout class per week. In August, I did really well about going to the gym on all of my office days, because my gym is at the office. Every single time I was in the office, I went to the gym in August, but I didn't do any workout classes. I just like really fell off of that. I actually signed up for 2 and missed them and had like to pay the fee of like missing a class, so that sucked. So I would like to do 1 workout class a week. I'd also like to be out of bed by 7 every morning. I really need to do this because I feel like my mornings have been so chaotic recently. I had a really good run there where I had a really good, strong morning routine, and I was waking up on time. I was even going to the gym in the morning. I was like doing my supplement routine. I was eating breakfast. I had plenty of time. I was reading in the morning, and now I just am like so chaotic. I wake up like 30 minutes before I have to be out the door, and I'm rushing around, I'm running late, and I hate that feeling. So I want to let go of that and like get out of bed by 7 every morning. So I want to do better about editing my YouTube videos during the week. I post on YouTube on Sundays, and I really like hate having to edit on the weekends, because the weekends are supposed to be my breaks from work. And so when I'm having to like edit and do everything else on the weekends for like social media, I feel like it just eats up my entire weekend, and then I don't even get any time to relax. So if I sacrifice a little bit of time in my evenings during the weekdays, I can have a free weekend. And I did that with the video from last week, and it really helped. I feel like my weekends, I had just way less anxiety. I was much more relaxed over the weekend, and it just felt better like getting a video up and not having to worry about editing it. So I'm gonna try to do that. Other goal is to use my grandmother's typewriter. I think I've talked about this in a vlog, or maybe it's the vlog for next week, but my grandmother, when she passed in March, kind of just were like going through her house to see if we wanted anything, and this typewriter caught my eye, and it's a Underwood typewriter. It's like a very, very old. I was drawn to it. I was like, I have to have that. So I took it home, and my dad actually took it to be refurbished, not like, just kind of like cleaned, and like there were a few keys that weren't working, so he fixed those keys and just got it looking nice and clean again, and it's so beautiful, and it meant a lot to me that he did that. So it just feels like a gift from my grandmother and a gift from my dad, and it's just special to me, and I want the embarrassing thing is I have no idea how to use a typewriter really. I thought I did from like just watching TV, but like it's kind of confusing. I'm like, what button do I, where do I put the paper? Like, I don't know what to do. So I want to like take some time and really figure out how to do that, and like write some letters to my family or something on them. I think that would be really cool. My dad's 50th birthday is in November, or 50th, oh my god, 60th birthday is in November. And and that's obviously a big one, and it would be really special to him if I wrote like a letter to him or something on his mother's typewriter that he refurbished for me. I think that would be so special. So that's really all of my goals. So I have like a fitness goal, a routine goal, a social media goal, a financial goal, and then just a general personal fun goal. And I also I wrote down some activities I want to do in September just to help me. Like, again, I'm really focusing on romanticizing fall and just like the month that I'm in. I really just want to be more connected with like the present moment. I feel like I really struggle with that. So I have a few things I want to like do during September, like just fun things. There's this beautiful library downtown. It's called the Julia Idison building. I just randomly popped into my head. Julia Idison? Idison. It's definitely Idison. I don't know what the first name is, but it's this absolutely gorgeous library. I would love to go there one day and just either read or write something, or I don't know if I could work there for a day. Maybe I could. And then I also would love to go to a thrift store. Fun fact about me, I've never been to a thrift store. Well, I've been to like Plato's Closet. I don't know if that counts, but I've never really shopped there. I only ever like donated clothes there. And I have been to like antique stores, but that's a completely different experience. I feel like it's similar, but not quite the same. I want to go to a thrift store specifically to look at clothes, like, and maybe some home stuff. I also want to go to a bookstore. This is not really like a major like crazy thing. I go to bookstores all the time, but I would love to like go to a bookstore, maybe try a new one, but I just want to like browse a bookstore, feel the vibes, you know, just like get into the fall vibes. Bring a coffee, like whatever. I also want to do more coffee walks outside if the weather gets nicer. I'm hoping it does. It's just so hot right now. It's just impossible to do anything. But if it gets a little bit cooler, I'd love to just do more coffee walks. I want to bake something. I want to bake like some pumpkin bread, or like, I don't know, something fall-ish. I want to have a scary movie night. I want to do that on Friday the 13th. I think that'd be so fun. That's all the activities that I have for the fall. I feel like those are some really solid pre-fall / beginning of fall activities. On my TBR, I'm really excited about my TBR this month because I really thought hard about this. So I have some of my TBR right here. Backstory on these books. So I recently, and by recently I literally mean in the last like few days, I've decided that I want to spend some time really understanding myself more. Like, I know that feels so vague and like just random. I feel like with so much data coming into my life, like on social media and everything else, especially social media, really social media being the main thing, I feel like I will see all these people doing like these morning routines where they're waking up at 5 a.m. and they're running marathons and they're doing their 9 to 5 in addition to content creation, and they're like just, I don't know, like super productive, super healthy eating, working out every day, and I'm like, I want that. And then I see another video of a different creator who's just doing like a cozy morning. They're waking up at 9 a.m. They're like having a cozy cup of tea and reading a book, living a slow life in a cottage. And I'm like, no, I want that. And I'm like, what do I want? Anything with like fashion, and like, I feel like I see all these trends and these outfits and people sharing stuff, and I'm like, oh, I love that outfit. And then I'm like, I see another outfit that's totally different. I'm like, no, I like that one better. And it's like, I don't know, I just feel like, do I even know what my own personal style is? Do I even know what I want out of my morning routine and out of my day-to-day life? Like, what do I want to do? Do I want to run, or do I just want to run because I saw someone online running? And I feel like I should be doing that. Like, I think I know certain things about myself for sure. Like, I know that I love true crime, and I love mysteries, and I love like spooky season, and I love rainy days and going on walks, but I also love to be productive. I also love lists and notebooks and agendas and like stuff like that. I love new pens and stationery, but I just don't know, like, I feel like there's this whole part of me that I haven't explored because I've just been letting like social media tell me what I like or what I should be doing. And so I would like to just kind of get back to like the core of who I am, like kind of unravel all of the noise and just like get back to me. What do I want? What do I want out of my morning routine? Do I actually want to wake up at 5 a.m. and like have this whole like thing? Do I actually want to walk 10K steps a day, or does that feel like really unachievable and kind of like ridiculous when I'm working a 9 to 5? Do I even like wearing leopard print, or do I just want to because I see other people doing it? You know what I mean? So I tried to think back on like, when was the last time I felt like myself, or like not felt like myself, because I do feel like myself. I'm not like having this big existential crisis or something. I'm just having a hard time identifying like what are things that I like versus what are things that the world is telling me to like. So I tried to think back to the last time I felt like I just knew what I liked, and it was honestly college, I think, truthfully. I remember being very like, I don't know, I wore like combat boots and like this green jacket that I wore into the ground and never washed, which is disgusting. I remember wearing braids in my hair and loving it. I just like kind of like main character energy, honestly. I just was so happy with my life, and I'm happy with my life now, but I just feel out of touch with like myself, like who I am. I'm getting very deep on this little monthly reset, but I'm being honest. With that in mind, I was like, what were the books back then that like made me feel like myself and really made me like, I don't know, just the books that like changed my life and like gave me a perspective on who I am. One of the ones that immediately came to my mind was A Room of One's Own by Virginia Woolf. This book I read, it must have been like 2015, I guess. It was sometime during college and changed my life. And I'm gonna reread this. I actually started it last night. I read through chapter 1. And this is another one that's going to be very intellectually stimulating and kind of a challenge to read because it's written like, you know, say the early 1900s or like late 1800s. So it's written in, you know, like not TikTok language. So it's something that'll be a challenge for me. And I think that is also something that is core to who I am, is like just challenging myself intellectually. Like that's just something I've always enjoyed doing. So this is on my reading list. When I was looking for that book, I also came across this other Virginia Woolf book. It's A Haunted House and Other Stories. It's like short stories. And I was like, haunted house? Yes. I don't think I've ever read this. I have it, and I've had it for a long time. It's clearly like been well loved. I think I got it at like a used bookstore or something. But it's just like a collection of short stories, the first one being A Haunted House. And I was like, this is perfect for September. So, and like the blue vibes just feel very September to me. So I'm gonna read just like a couple of these. Not the whole book necessarily, but just like pick out some that I want to read. So this is on my TBR. Another book that made me feel so much like myself, and I just feel like I am this person, is Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte. When I read this, I was like, this is me. This is a book about myself. My mom has always said I remind her of Jane Eyre and Jo March from Little Women. So this is on my list. I read like a few chapters last night. I think I'm on like chapter 6. So those are my 3 like books I've already read, but just want to read again to try to like get in touch with myself. This one is called Red Sky in Morning by Paul Lynch. I actually found this at a local bookstore here in Houston like 2 months ago, and I picked it up because I liked the cover. Okay, I'll just read this little excerpt. A textured thriller straight from the torment of Ireland's 19th century. I mean, immediately, yes, I love Ireland. I love thrillers. I was like, okay, done, sold, put it in the cart. Excited to read this. I was like, oh, perfect thriller for like the fall, I feel like. I don't know. I have like a few on my Goodreads that I marked as I want to read. One that's coming out on September 24th that I would like to read, it's called Graveyard Shift by M.L. Rio. The synopsis is, every night in the college's ancient cemetery, 5 people cross paths as they work the late shift. A bartender, a rideshare driver, a hotel receptionist, the steward of the derelict church that looms over them, and the editor-in-chief of the college paper, always in search of a story. First of all, I was the editor-in-chief of our college paper, so like, I was like, yes, I need to read this. One dark October evening in the defunct churchyard, they find a hole that wasn't there before, a fresh open grave where no grave should be, but who dug it and for whom? Before they go their separate ways, the gravedigger returns. As they trail him through the night, they realize he may be the key to a string of strange happenings around town. that have made headlines for the last few weeks, and that they may be closer to the mystery than they thought. I love this. I love an ensemble cast, and it's like modern gothic, like atmospheric, eerie, like yes, absolutely. And the cover, I'll put it on the screen, but the cover looks really cool. I feel like I've got a very ambitious TBR this month. I have 3 different thrillers on my want to read on Goodreads, and I don't know how many I'm gonna, actually 4, oh my gosh. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to get to all 4, probably not. I'll probably just pick one, but I'll like rapid fire the 4 that are on here. She's Not Sorry by Mary Kubica. I've read Mary Kubica before and really liked her, and I've heard this one's really good. Listen for the Lie by Amy Tintera. Another one I heard is really good, never read this author before. House of Glass by Sarah Pekkanen. That one also looked really good. It has a 4-star rating on Goodreads. So those 3 are on there. And then Riley Sager's Middle of the Night, which I believe is the newest one. I think is his newest one, or maybe, or was the one I just read Only One Left his newest one? No, Only One Left was from last year. This one, Middle of the Night, is his current new release. So I have 4 thrillers on here. I also have Fate Inked in Blood on here as a fantasy one. I am like really in my fantasy era again. What is the other one? Where is it? I thought I had it on here. One Dark Window by Rachel Gillig. Heard like really good things about this. Has a 4.3 on Goodreads. I'm gonna add this right now. But yeah, so that's my TBR. Super, there's like, that's like what, 10 books or something. There's no way I read all of those probably. Well, maybe, who knows. That's my selection, my lineup to choose from for this month. And then I also made a list of movies I want to watch because it's September and I want to start getting into like the vibes. So I have a few movies on here that I think are perfect September movies. The first one, which I'm actually watching tonight, is The Goonies. If you've never seen The Goonies, please stop what you're doing. Watch The Goonies. It's so good, so nostalgic. I read it. I watched it for the first time when I was in elementary school. It's kind of like the original Stranger Things, honestly, except it's a movie. Just a bunch of kids, ensemble cast, like solving a mystery, and it's like has to do with ancient pirate treasure. They find the treasure. Like, it's so good, and it's like old school. It was like came out in 1985. So it's just so like nostalgic. I love it so much. And then I would like to watch Dead Poets Society. I think that's a really good one for September. Good Will Hunting, another really good September one, and also Robin Williams again. I don't know why Robin Williams gives September vibes to me, but I love Robin Williams. Harry Met Sally, obviously. This one is okay to move to October also, because I feel like it's also a good October movie, but it's just, and then Practical Magic is on my list. I've actually never seen Practical Magic, believe it or not. I feel like I've seen every Sandra Bullock movie under the sun, and this one is about witches, so I can't believe I would never have watched it. But yeah, I don't think I've ever seen it, or at least not all the way through. So I'm excited to watch that. But those are what are on my list for movies. And then for shows, I think, you know, my usual Gilmore Girls rewatch, maybe Vampire Diaries. Anyways, that is everything that I want to read and watch and all that for September. I'm so excited for September. I feel just like so excited for fall. I feel like I come alive in the fall. But actually, I will say, I was telling Alex this, I'm always so excited for fall, but this year I actually feel a little bit sad about summer ending. Like, I feel like I could do with one more month of summer, honestly, or maybe like a few more weeks. I feel like I really enjoyed summer this year, and I also really enjoyed spring this year. I've decided spring is my second favorite season. I just love new beginnings. I love fresh starts, and September kind of feels like a fresh start to me, especially with the fact that it's like the first and it's on a Sunday. Like, the first being on a Sunday is literally the best thing in the entire world. There's nothing better, you can't convince me. And it's a 3-day weekend. Like, yes. Anyways, that concludes this month's monthly reset. Happy September, you guys. Happy fall. For those of you who already have fall weather, please enjoy it for me. I'm so jealous. And send some of it down our way to Houston. I would love to hear what you guys have on your TBR, and if you have any movie recommendations for September, also let me know. I'm always open to movie recommendations, show recommendations. I watch so much TV, so please let me know. Yeah, I hope you guys have the best September, and I will see you guys in my October reset.